While I was in Japan on vacation, I would scroll on YouTube when I was in my hotel room, and for some reason, I kept getting featured tons of videos about Jeepers Creepers. I don't know why I was getting it unless it was a popular movie in Japan, but through the scrolling, I caught a glimpse of a short animated video showing the Predator kicking in the door of the Creepers' hideouts. And it got me thinking, who would win in a fight between these two vastly different horror monsters? Let's take an in-depth look at both of them and try to make a guess at who would win. We're going to start off with the Predator. The Predator's race is called the Yautja, an alien species of master hunters who only choose to go after the most dangerous game they can find, usually apex predators that can fight back. They made their first appearance in the 1987 movie Predator. The Jungle Hunter, as the one in this movie was called, fought against a team of special operation fighters led by Alan Dutch Schaefer, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger.
You one ugly motherfucker.
It succeeded in systematically killing all of Dutch's men using master hunting tactics of sneaking around very quietly and either physically striking them down with its own strength or shooting them with its shoulder-mounted plasma blaster, before it was finally defeated in one-on-one combat with Schaefer. 10 years later in the movie's universe, another Predator came to Earth, this one being known as the City Hunter. Just like its predecessor before, it would systematically hunt down gang members and police officers to prove its skill. It too would be defeated, this time by Lieutenant Mike Harrigan, played by Danny Glover.
You are one ugly motherfucker.
What was interesting about this one is we got to see the City Hunter's tribe of other predators led by an old seasoned predator named Grayback. Grayback actually gives Harrigan a flintlock pistol that he took off a pirate he'd hunted 200 years prior. We see a collection of trophies won after each kill when the City Hunter is cleaning the skulls of one of its victims, and we see the skull of a xenomorph from the Alien franchise. The skill in which the Yautja hunt is second to none, and part of that comes from not only the training, but their physiology, and with the advanced technology they have at their disposal. First, they have camouflage that helps them blend in with their surroundings. Their regular vision allows them to see in infrared and electromagnetic spectrums. The helmets they use help increase their sight exponentially. However, they can't see creatures whose heat is blocked either by their blood or, in Dutch's case, mud, blocking his body heat. They have a shoulder-mounted plasma blaster that deals heavy damage, ripping through metal as if it were a matchstick, and killing anything it hits directly. When they want to get up close and personal, they used wrist-mounted double blades that retain their sharpness and have the strength to hold up someone who weighs more than 200 pounds of pure muscle. A net that, when their prey is captured, tightens up and tears their body apart. They also use other blades and spears, which apparently they see as a more honorable use in combat than their plasma blasters. Now, the main weakness is that they are pretty slow because of how big they are, and even with their camouflage, whenever they move, they create a shimmer that can be seen by the human eye.
Out there, bastard trees. You see it? I see you.
So we need to take that into account for the actual battle. Now on to the Creeper. The Creeper is a being of unknown origin. Now before we continue, I do know there is a comic book that came out in or around 2017 that gave us an origin of the Creeper being seen as a Central or South American native tribe's dragon god who they'd sacrifice people to during its cycle. However, the comic has continuity errors that go against the established timeline, because the first movie explains that the Creeper had attacked a man and a woman named Kenny and Darla in the 1970s.
I saw him, Trish. Kenny and Darla. Class of 78.
And based on the fact that he has a 23-year cycle, his previous cycle couldn't have been later than 1956 because the first movie takes place in 2001. And in the comic, there's an attack that happens in a mine in the 1960s. So I'm going to take that with a grain of salt. Okay, now with that out of the way, let's get back to the Creeper. He has a 23-year hibernation cycle where for 23 days in the spring, he eats the specific body parts and organs of humans to regenerate dying or damaged parts of his own. He has razor-sharp teeth, wings, and a secondary smelling apparatus on his nose to help him smell the fear in the victims he chooses. When he flies, his wings make almost no noise, as he's able to successfully grab Coach Charlie while he was no more than 20 feet away from his coworkers and fly off with only his screams alerting them.
There's something going on out here, and I don't like it. I think if we just stop.
Another example is when Derry and Trish arrive at the farm of an old cat lady, and he successfully sneaks onto her land without anyone hearing him.
Kids got anyone else with you? That's not my scarecrow.
After he successfully feeds off the person, he will try to use the rest of their body by implementing their flesh or bones into his weapons like knives, throwing stars, spears, and his famous axe. He seems to have some sort of psychic link to his weapons, as they will move on their own if somebody who isn't the Creeper holds it. He also has his truck, a souped-up 1941 Chevy COE that can drive well over 100 miles, has body armor that deflects bullets leaving no scratches, has sensor-based booby traps so that anyone who isn't the Creeper gets maimed or killed when approaching it, and has a spike bomb that drops when it's being chased. The Creeper also has super strength, being able to rip open the steel bars of a jail cell, and his wings ripped a person's head off, like it was nothing. He also has nigh immortality, thanks to his ability to regenerate from, well, eating flesh and organs. His experience on Earth is second to none, as he has hunted over the course of several hundred to possibly thousands of years. But the predators themselves can live for over 1,000 years, so that's not really going to help him much. Now, we need to take into account that the predator species has a ranking hierarchy structure depending on age and experience, with the lowest being known as a pup, which is just a child, and the highest being the clan leaders, as well as ancients, who aren't clan leaders but are well respected for their over 1,000 years of experience and knowledge from their hunts. We can wager to guess that the jungle and city hunters were what were known as young-blooded or even freshly blooded predators. And the difference, according to what the wiki says, is that bloodeds have successfully defeated xenomorphs and marked themselves in their blood, whereas young bloods have yet to fight one because of their skill. Now, even though the movie was really bad and too dark to see anything, AVP Requiem introduced us to Wolf, who's known as an elite predator, which is just under the leader title. And we see his skill when he successfully kills several xenomorphs like they're nothing, and we know how terrifying just one is to fight for a human. let's talk about fear, because that's how the creeper chooses his victims. The way he picks isn't necessarily stated, just that some people give off a more delicious scent with their fear. We see that he will kill people who are in his way to get food, such as the cat lady in the first movie, the creeper hunters in the third movie, and possibly the adults in the second movie, so he could just get to the teenagers and get them more afraid to decide who he wanted to eat. Now, the Yautja are stated to have fear, specifically if they're fighting foes who are considerably more powerful or skilled than them, like specific xenomorphs, river ghosts, and, surprisingly, humans. But they are able to put their fear aside for the hunt, so I don't think the creeper would find even the young bloods delicate because they push their fear down so much. So here's what I think. Against a young blood, the creeper will struggle and definitely lose several limbs, but if he plays his cards right, I do think he would win. Against a blooded, it could be almost the same depending on how recent the blooded, got its kill against a xenomorph. But that's where the creeper would realistically stop in terms of fighting prowess, especially if we take a close look at what the creeper namely goes against. He's hunting regular people who run from him, whereas the predators choose to go after people who can kill them just so they can show who's more dominant. Yes, the creeper did fight a police force and a self-made militia of people that are hunting him because he ate members of their families, but those people are using basic ammunition with the highest caliber realistically being 30-06 or 50 cal, which is enough to kill a predator, but the plasma weapons that the predator has can disintegrate flesh and metal. Not only that, but the predator has camouflage tech that can honestly hide from the creeper because the creeper is using human eyes. So, based on what we've seen in the movies, the creeper realistically struggles against the predator. But depending on the experience of the specific predator, he could theoretically kill them. But any Yautja who are classified as blooded and have gone through many hunts would be harder for the creeper if he could beat them at all. And he's not defeating an elite or higher. No chance. Their skill would send the creeper running in fear. But that's just my theory on it. I would like to hear your theories on this topic, so go ahead and say what you think would happen if a predator and a creeper fought. Well, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a good day, good evening, whatever your time zone. Bye-bye.